Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm checking out the Jumper X86. Now there has been quite a few models released under the Jumper name, which is confusing, and you might see that mine looks a little bit different to the one in the picture on Banggood's site, and that is because this model came with these DYS propellers, and I knew they were going to be a problem straight away because they were the cause for the instability of the Chaser 88 that I reviewed some time ago, so I didn't have high hopes of this model in the first place. But what have we got here? Well, actually it is a brushless micro, of course. We've got so many of these brushless micros, and it is a tiny whoops style model, but it is very unusual because it's using molded plastic for the ducts here, and it doesn't have all-in-one ESCs. It's a really strange build. We have 10 amp BL Halley ESCs there. They're BL Halley S, and they are just sort of cable tied on the sides here, which is very unusual. Now, I don't want to waste anyone's time with this one, so my conclusion with this is it's a little bit too heavy and lacks a little bit of power. So it only takes a 2S battery, so you can see there we've got a JST connector, and it weighs 82 grams, and for some reason it would only hover at about 55 to 60% throttle on a 2S battery, and it will not take a 3S battery. How do I know that? Because I tried it and it blew the regulator up on the flight controller straight away. So if you aren't interested anymore, then switch off now, but I am going to do a full review of this because I did fly the model with these props on and I was completely correct. It was quite unstable. But on paper, this model should work because we have got a omnibus all-in-one flight controller. So this model has an on-screen display that you can control through Betaflight, of course, and it has Betaflight already installed on it. We have got a VTX that is built into this as well, and it's 32 channel, so you change the channels underneath here. So it's made up of this power distribution board here, and then that links to the flight controller board and VTX, like I say, and then it's also got a built-in D8 receiver, so we've got a little hole there, and that is the bind button, and you can bind your Tyrannus to it in D8 mode. And yeah, we have just a normal dipole antenna for the camera, so that means that it's durable, and this plastic feels really durable. And check this out as well, there is a little, well, I thought it was an LED, but it's actually a race transponder. However, there's no instructions with this at all, and it doesn't tell you what that works with, so probably some open source race transponder. I don't know, I haven't looked into it, but apparently we've got some little dip switches here, and that can set the frequency of the transponder. Yeah, we have a nice little slot in the side there for a USB cable for Betaflight, and then the motors, they are a high kV motor, and they are branded Jumper, and they are 1104 7500 kV. So yeah, a little bit struggling on the power there, and of course I'm going to need a way to FPV with it, so I'm going to be using my Fat Shark Dominator HD3s, and I mentioned the Tyrannus that I'm going to fly with. This model doesn't have a buzzer, and with it being green, it's really difficult to find in the grass. Of course, you can set up the ESCs as a beacon, but I don't think there's a way to add a buzzer to this model. What else do you get in the package? Well, you just get this. This is an Allen key to take the top off for maintenance. You get given this sticky pad thing here. No battery, no charger. So the battery that I'm going to be using here is the Ishin battery. I know some people might say, oh, that battery's too big, that's why it's being weighed down, but it isn't that. I've tried smaller batteries and you don't get a very good flight time with the smaller batteries or the bigger batteries, and as I say, I tried a 3S battery, the thing blew up on me. One thing that is cool though is it does have spare parts, so I can buy a spare part for this. So yeah, I really like the design. It just, yeah, I mean, it flies okay. You can fly it indoors, no problem, but for acro outside, when you compare it to the AR Fun and all those other recent brushless micros, this one definitely lacks power. But you know, we have a nice band here for the battery to go in, and that is protected as well. So yeah, if power isn't your thing and you just want to learn how to fly, then yeah, it's a nice mod. It's got an on-screen display, but for me, just lacking a little bit of power. So let's take a look at how it flies. First of all, line of sight with these stock propellers, and then after that I'll do a flight with these 5-blade propellers that I have put on. Okay, let's go for a takeoff with this guy. Starting off in angle mode. And this is the 2S battery. And let's go for a punch. Not bad. I did hear something crunch. That's probably the balance port of the battery going through the props, that. And there was a little bit of wobble on the angle mode as well. So let's try acro. Yeah, that's wobbling as well. So it looks like there's some setup to be done on this. Either that or it's those DYS propellers again, like they were on the Chaser 88. It's unusual to tell when there's a tuning problem line of sight, but I do think there might be with this one. We shall see. Not bad punch on 2S though. I do think the likes of the AR Fun has more punch though. But that one doesn't have ducts. This one does. It's not dropping out of the sky, but it doesn't feel completely smooth. I can see some wobbles when the model's trying to recover from a flip and a roll. Yeah. Also the green against the green grass, that could be tricky to find. Doesn't look like there's any brownouts though, no flips of death or anything like that. See if I can get it close to the camera. It's hovering at just over 50% on the throttle. Yeah, definitely seen wobbles there. Okay, let's come in for a landing. Okay, here's with the new props fitted from the AR Fun. They are the 5-bladed props. Let's go for a takeoff now and see what it's like. Still struggling against the wind. Let's check out the punch. The punch is about the same, but did you see there how nicer it descended? It's still noisy. I think this is much better. Let's try a bit of acro. I didn't see any wobbles. Why do they do this? Why do they make these great models then stick duff props on them, you know? Oh, it's really windy today. I really like these props, you know. I think they're my favourite props for micros. Plenty of power now and stability. Trying to get it close, but the wind just keeps blowing it. I actually quite like the green with the red prop. Yeah, it's still not as much power as the AR fun, that's for sure. But maybe it'll be more fun indoors, this one. Keeping it in fairly close because no buzzer on this one. The line of sight acro is fun. It's struggling into wind though. Getting blown away, come back. Of course, the good thing about this is if it does go down, then it's not going to splatter a antenna. Right, that's much better. Time for some FPV. So when I flew the model FPV, the lack of power definitely showed itself more than when flying it line of sight. I would put it into flips and rolls, and I pretty much almost have to give it full throttle to recover from it. But I mean, it flew really nicely though, so I do think that if you are after a model that doesn't have a ton of power and is not completely scary like some of these incredibly powerful 2S models that are coming out, then you can see you can still do your maneuvers with this. I'm using the stock Betaflight tune here. All I did was switch those propellers, and that made a huge difference. So I think I'm going to ignore any model that has those DYS propellers, or at least change them every time that I get sent them, because yeah, just no good at all. But you can see that as I'm doing my rolls, it's losing a lot of height, and I think it's because of those ducts. I think because it's molded plastic, it's very heavy, and I imagine if I chipped away at some of them, because it's sort of like an all-in-one system, I reckon you could make this really lightweight and have a crazy flyer then. But yeah, it's fairly docile in its current form, and it still screams with those high kV motors. It just doesn't really go very far when you do throttle up. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think I'm being too harsh on this? You know, I'm so used to flying these really powerful 5-inch quads that sort of hover at 15 to 20% throttle, and this one was really hovering always over 50%, and like I say, I'm giving it full beans when recovering from these maneuvers here. Maybe I'm just spoiled, I don't know. But, you know, it does what it says on the tin. There's no brownouts, and we have that on-screen display that works. I just set the voltage warning a little bit lower so that it's not flashing. And, of course, you can go in there and change your PIDs and change all your settings using the controller, just like you can on all these Betaflight on-screen display models. I really would like to see some 5-inch models coming out with this on-screen display, because it's just so easy to just plug in your USB and configure it through Betaflight. Yeah, I think the camera on this one is definitely more crisp and clear than the Aurora series, and it's not breaking up as much either, which is pretty good considering it's not got a cloverleaf antenna. Now I'm just sort of testing how long I can fly it for. Like I say, it's about 3 minutes, something like that. The flight time on the timer is slightly wrong here because it was on the ground for quite a bit and I was messing around with it. But there you go, I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.